Glossary for the Introduction.
Correllian tradition. Correllianism is highly philosophical and syncretic in its views, believing that deity comes to the individual from within, and that religion exists to help that process, not to replace it. Correllianism believes that all of the indigenous or pagan religions of the world are equally worthy and share fundamental concepts that are universal in nature, while at the same time manifesting external differences appropriate to their respective cultural origins. It also believes that pagan religions must stand together and acknowledge each other's worths. In previous years, Correllian Wicca was called Nativist Wicca, and it is still formally termed Correllian Nativist Wicca.
Do as you will, but harm none. Do as you will, but harm none. The Wiccan Rede considered the oldest and most sacred Wiccan law. Many traditions have laws or rules of their own, but the Wiccan Rede is the only one that almost all traditions agree on. Not all traditions agree on how the word harm should be interpreted, however.
The God. Consort of the goddess, the god, who is represented by the sun, is lord of the cycles of life. He is seen as the god of vegetation and of the forests, but also as lord of animals. He is represented as dying and being reborn each year in the cycle of the seasons.
Polarities. The concept of polarity is the idea that the universe is held in balance by the interaction of two equal but opposite forces. These are variously described as darkness and light, spirit and matter, yin and yang, and goddess and god. Everything that exists is made up of both of these qualities to varying degrees.
Syncretic. Syncretism is the likening of disparate ideas in the belief that they express a common truth. In religion, syncretism is the idea that different religions of the world all reflect the same basic truths, but in differing ways, and that these differences are essentially external rather than integral to the true meanings of the religions. Syncretism is a dominant aspect of historic and contemporary pagan religions. The hallmark of syncretism is the likening of deities from one area to deities from another. Thus, at the dawn of human history, the Egyptians likened the southern Ammon to the northern Ra, seeing them as the same deity. Similarly, the Egyptians likened Ptah, Seker, and Osiris to one another, seeing them as one, a practice that extended throughout Egyptian religion. Much later, the Romans likened the Celtic Cernunnos and Sekulos, the Germanic Odin, and their own Mercury to one another, seeing them all as one deity. The highest expression of syncretism in the ancient world was the worship of the goddess Isis, which in later periods taught that all deities were expressions of the same divine power, expressed as polarities. But this was by no means an exclusively Isaic view. The short-lived priest-emperor Elagabalus created the most concrete example of syncretism in the form of his Elagabalium, the temple raised to all gods as one.
Triple Goddess. The three forms of the triple goddess reflect three phases of the moon: maiden, waxing moon; mother, full moon; and crone, waning moon. The triple goddess is the form of the mother goddess most often found in Wicca and underlying most Wiccan thought. Her symbol is the moon, and she is also represented by the earth itself, most often spoken of as her body, by the sea, or by the whole of the universe. Her spirit suffuses all things. Wicca. Wicca is a nature-based pagan religion focused on the worship of the mother goddess and her consort, and the observance of the cycles of nature and the universe. Wicca is highly eclectic, drawing from many sources, both in its origin and in its contemporary practice. Wicca also acknowledges and seeks to develop the higher powers of the soul through the practice of magic.
Wiccan traditions. Tradition in the Wiccan religion is the term used to describe an individual denomination as distinct from others. There are many Wiccan traditions, including the Gardnerian tradition, the Alexandrian tradition, the Wicca tradition, the North Wind tradition, the Blackstone tradition, and the Lothlorien tradition, to name just a few of the larger ones. There are also many small traditions. All are equally worthy, and all, in theory at least, respect each other equally. As membership in any Wiccan tradition is wholly voluntary, it is never appropriate for a member of one tradition to pass judgment on the practices of another tradition, except in regard to whether a given practice is right for that member as an individual.